So I recently got a 3D printer, and like any cuber with one, I wanted to print a 3x3. And I am working on designing one that hopefully I'll make a video about later, but I wanted to start with something a little more simple that was still really cool. So I thought it'd be a good idea to make a 1x1x2. Basically just a really simple puzzle that would be easy to design but still fun to do and fun to make a video about. So my plan was to make 3 models for the 1x1x2 and then pick the best one. The first one is right here. It's just a simple ball and socket idea. So one side has like a socket and the other side has this little divot with a ball in it that it can grip onto. So I thought this would work, and it did until I broke it. But even before it broke, it wasn't the best design. It kind of had this really big gap between the pieces, and it kind of just wobbled around everywhere. And since the socket isn't symmetric all around it, it didn't turn super consistently. So yeah, this one didn't work very well.
Bye, have a great time!
So it was time to make a second model. I really thought long and hard about the best way to make it spin because I needed it to be able to clip together, like both pieces to clip together, but then not come back apart. So I made this design right here, and basically one of the little cubies has a cone on it, and the other has the indent of a cone with an air pocket around it and some slits in it so that it should essentially bend to let the cone in, but then it will never come apart again unless you use force. And here's how it came out, and it actually works pretty well, as you can see, at least a lot better than the first one. So I was pretty satisfied with the second model, but I wanted to make a third model just because if it was better, that would be nice. So I realized that maybe I was overthinking it a bit because I have these, which are a bunch of small magnets. They're not actually 4 cubes. I just bought them like a few years ago off of Amazon for some random reason. So I figured if I glued one into each piece, then they would stick together and hopefully spin very well. I was pretty lucky because the holes I made were literally exactly the size of the magnet or a tiny bit smaller, so I didn't even have to super glue the magnets in. I just used a hammer and it worked. So yeah, it spins pretty nice. And it's kind of cool because it's just like a little magnet. So those are the 3 models, and the first model wasn't really an option anymore. So I was gonna pick the best one and print it in black plastic and then sticker it up. In the end, I decided to go with the second model because it's just more practical. Since it's like 100% plastic, you don't need to have any magnets. So before I printed it in black plastic, there were a couple little touch-ups I wanted to do. It might be hard to see in the camera, but one of the little cubies is flat on the inside and one of them isn't, and it took me a lot longer to fix that than I thought for some reason. And then I just made a couple more touch-ups on the mechanism and the inside, and then I printed it, and here it is right off the printer. And it might be kind of hard to see with the black plastic, but this is the basic design. This little cone should just fit into this socket and then never come out. So I got some fine sandpaper and some Scotch-Brite pads just to round off the edges of the pieces and then make it smooth. So now you can see I just put the pieces together and they will not come apart. So at first I tried to do some freehand sticker cutting, which didn't go very well. My first sticker looked pretty terrible. So I printed this, which is basically just a stencil. My plan was to use the X-Acto knife directly with it, but it doesn't really work because the X-Acto knife cuts the plastic. So first I just have to trace the stickers and then cut it with the X-Acto knife. And it still works a lot better than just freehand. So now I just have to lube it and then add some stickers, and then I'll show you what it looks like at the end. Alright, so here's the cube finished. This was a really fun process, and it's just a nice thing to have in your collection because it looks kind of cool. My stickers definitely aren't perfect and I could use some work on that, but it doesn't look too bad if you don't look at it too close. Alright, now it's time for a solve. 0.43. It would have been really sad if I didn't even beat the 2x2 world record. So yeah, if you have a 3D printer and you want to print one of these for yourself, then I'll have a link to the file on Thingiverse. You can just download it and then print it for yourself if you want to. Other than that, that's all for this video. If you have any ideas of what I should print next, I'd love to hear them. Please subscribe and hit the like button if you want to see more awesome videos like this.